Hello, everybody. Hey, welcome to Fanatics of Film, and my name is Ben, and I've got a good cohort with me.
Good evening. I'm Joe.
And we're talking about the just this latest episode. We've actually been doing all of our Better Call Saul episodes at this new studio, and our new major studio. We just got a funding for this giant studio in Hollywood. So congratulations to us.
You can tell we spare no expense on my collection of movies there.
Yeah, we finally hit the big time.
Yeah.
No, this is actually not. So just getting right into it. The first thing that jumps out right at me is this scene that we first see him. I mean, it seems like it's a scene from Breaking Bad, right? Like this is our first.
Yeah.
I mean, we both Joe and I jumped. Well, Joe jumped into his archives, his Breaking Bad archives, and we tried to find out where. I just remember the scene where he basically calls the paralegal / assistant, sugar tits, and that's and he does that. He does that in Breaking Bad when I remember him distinctly shredding some stuff, and so maybe it was a different part of this scene. Anyway, we tried to find it, but we couldn't seem to find exactly.
I didn't exactly have time to go through the last 3 episodes or 4 episodes of Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad to find it. But does Saul have a scene in the last couple of episodes where he's shredding his documents or shutting down his office to go on the run, where he calls for the van that takes him away? Even if there is a scene, this is obviously a reiteration of that, which was kind of cool to go back to, because I'm still trying to figure out how it relates.
Cutting right through the We the People, right through the Constitution into his hidden dollar bills.
Yeah, and so what did I'm trying to remember that. I guess that didn't really touch so much on the rest of the episode.
Yeah, it didn't. It didn't. I think that's the first thing that really stood out to me because it didn't, and I was waiting for it to connect somewhere. But I assume that it's gonna.
It will eventually.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see some more eventually. But the other thing that stood out to me, of course, was just I think both you and I were talking about how we want retaliation for those damn kids.
Oh yeah, when Jimmy gets when he gets attacked by young juvenile delinquents and oh man, come on, this sucks. And I want to see those kids get their comeuppance, but they probably won't. They'll get away with it.
Well, yeah, and you pointed out how it's because he sat there contemplating whether he should go and sell to the biker gang. Yeah. And because all of a sudden it gets serious and everybody skates off, everybody gets away. Yeah. And they're just running. Everybody's just running. So I mean, I've actually been almost. I've been assaulted on the freeway by a biker before, so I know the feeling, and I mean, anyway, it's one of long. I'm gonna try to make it a short story, but he kind of just would riding right up next to me and basically trying to run me off the road type of thing, and I had to call the road anyway. But that I know that I know that feeling that he was kind of going through, and you said that he can't help but want the challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge. Everybody else leaves. He knows he probably shouldn't mess with these guys, but he does anyways. And like a perfect salesman, he's friends with them at the end. That was great. And then of course I just knew that those kids were going to come back in. Kids that called him a narc when he was trying to sell these burner phones. And then he goes and gets the tracksuit, which is a great tracksuit. Then he's selling to everybody at what was the name of the hot dog place again? Was that in Breaking Bad?
Yeah, dude, that was in. Yeah, that scene. There was several scenes with Jesse having to deal with taking. I mean, he had. I think he buys a gun from somebody.
At that hot dog place.
At the hot dog place.
Well,
it's the gold dog or I can't remember what it's called.
It is Albuquerque, so that's another thing I like about it too. Is it is in a town where even though the two shows are different settings, different characters, you're still going to get those interconnections because it's the same town, it's the same small city. I shouldn't say a town or same city, but I really dug. What was happening with Gus and Mike in this episode too.
Yeah.
whole subplot about trying to build their super meth lab is kind of interesting. I wouldn't even think that, okay, this is happening. So now we're seeing the birth of their strong connection. You know, eventually Mike's going to work for Gus full time. So
yeah, the super lab. This was particularly interesting to me because initially, of course, they're trying to figure out who the right guy to use, and it does throw you for a loop because it made me. I thought they were gonna, have him do it right away because he's got a laser. He's got a laser measure. Yeah. He's all high tech and everything, but he's just like, yeah, I can totally do this. Blah blah blah. And like Gus, I think obviously what sold him on that second guy was the fact that he was so meticulously careful, so incredibly careful about everything, and that's what Gus has always been. Has always been so detailed and so scared of getting caught on anything.
So just the fact that the other guy, the German that they bring in, seems to realize the difficulties of building in secret this underground fortified meth lab, and that it's not going to be easy, and you can't just get it done in like 6 months to 7 months, and so it's going to be interesting to see if we start to see this happening on the show.
It seemed like maybe that he was maybe he was just more realistic, and Gus saw that this guy was much more realistic in the sense, and I felt bad about this other guy because he just they just like, thanks for your time, and give him a plane ticket, no money, nothing, and that was it.
Drive him there and back with the hood on, which would suck, having that hood and not knowing are you going to be killed? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, seriously.
Are they marching me to my death? I also like the point of view of this gentleman when he is being taken by Mike out of the vehicle in the hood, and you just see sort of his point of view through the hood, looking down at his shoes. Kind of gives you that. It was almost documentary style storytelling right there. They really puts you into the position of that guy, and so palms got a little sweaty. Like,
I bet you anything they filmed the entire sequence that way as well, just to have that in case they wanted to put the entire sequence that way of just seeing that. And of course, it probably got
a long scene because there were multiple cuts during that scene too. So that was really impressive. There's some really good cinematography in this episode. And then the third storyline that was happening with Kim was really intriguing.
Yeah.
Is she gonna walk away from Mesa?
Well, it leads back to that. I think it was two episodes ago that you and I sat there really kind of puzzled at what she was dealing, like what was on her mind at that scene where she's like, she says, well, she doesn't say anything. That's the thing, is that they're walking around and they're looking at these models of these different banks. I believe they're different branches of the bank.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, Mesa Verde Bank. And so
one of them's in Salt Lake City.
That's right. And then so they talk specifically about this, and she's kind of aloof. She's very removed from the moment, and they're just like, Kim, or whatever. And so the whole point of that scene was very puzzling to us because we were trying to figure out what she's thinking about, and I think that she's ultimately just kind of bored.
Well, I think it's also definitely a sort of unfulfillment. So she gets this big client, Mesa Verde. She's pretty much her only client, and they pay her really well. It's like the judge told her in the previous episode that she doesn't have to do small court cases anymore. Like she's being paid very well. But I think that's kind of the whole point. Is I don't think it's exactly what she wants to do, is represent this corporation, when she is very good at handling ordinary folk.
And I think she's finding a thirst just like Saul Goodman or Jamie McGill is in the sense that they really love being kind of down home, gritty lawyers. They enjoy this thing, and both of them, I could see that they were both experiencing a lot of boredom in this episode. Because he tries to sit down and watch Dr. Zhivago with her, and he can't get through the overture, and she's trying to start her thing, and she's like, it was fine, and then he just is like, I need to go do crimes.
I think he needs distractions, and I think if she's too busy to pay attention to him, I think, idle hands, right? Idle hands. I thought it was really interesting what was happening with, I'm drawing a blank. Hamlin and McGill.
Oh my gosh! You're talking about Howard?
Yeah, in the bathroom.
Howard! Oh my gosh! How that is that was the heartbreaking moment because Howard.
I don't know. I kind of don't really have a lot of.
You don't? Okay. See, I do. Well, at least to the point because you've seen Howard take a complete and total 180.
But it doesn't make up for the crappy things he's done through the first 4 seasons. But yeah, I mean, it's always nice to see a character that's kind of a douche or a jerk become a little bit more sympathetic.
Yeah.
And for him to take this total neurotic turn where you find out when Jimmy runs into him in the bathroom in the county courthouse.
Yeah.
Like, why is he there? He's got a case there. But they have their own. Well, I guess he's got to go represent. But like Howard is just insomniac, going to therapy twice a week, and here just before Jimmy's brother passed away, like he's a totally different character. He's very arrogant, he's very cocky and self-assured, and he does a lot of dick moves. He's one of those guys that people are like, that guy's a dick. But so it's nice that for him to sort of grow a conscience, but at the same time, just a little jab.
Yeah,
this will do him some good. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just I once again I just had that moment when you see him like, do you ever have insomnia? And it's I just look.
It's your worst enemy. It's your worst enemy.
It just made me think. Really, really feel something for Howard, and because he's
right. I was like, aha.
He's going.
Suck it, jerk.
Well, because he was like. What did he say? I've said enough, or I will not say. Do you remember
Jimmy
what the
asks
line was?
him? Yeah, he's like, I have to ask what's eating you, and he's about to say something and he hesitates, and then he's like, I've shared too much already. Like yeah. So he's just like basically when he sort of semi-confessed to Jimmy that he believes that he actually is the cause of.
He let him just take it. He's like, fine. If you're the cause, then I'll let you just have that.
Yeah. When he feels like he's killed Jimmy's brother, you know what I mean? Like he caused the suicide, and then because they recap that too, where and I kept wondering, okay, so they're going to get into this because they're recapping when he told, well, Howard, that's your cross to bear, and then it didn't happen, and we moved far away from it enough that I completely forgot about it. So when Howard shows up again, it was like, oh, what's gonna happen here? And wow, no, that was good. Again, this whole season is just every season of the show just seems to get better and more enjoyable because all the stories, all the different subplots that are happening that are coming together into one, they're just so intriguing.
One part that jumps out at me now too is because when there is a turning point in this episode because Jimmy decides, he makes the conscious decision that he's going to go to the shrink. He's like, maybe I'll go, and maybe I'll finally decide to go.
After taking a beating.
After that whole situation, dealing with that. And I was like, okay, so they are playing the long game, and I could see, because literally him making that choice to actually go to a shrink makes me think, or it made me think for a moment, that they were going to have this show be a lot more seasons than Breaking Bad. Like I'm talking, like 10 seasons. Because if they're making them go to a shrink, maybe, I don't know. The point is that when he decides not to, and throws the
rips the card up.
I mean, that's just once again, it's another just a huge possible turning point, but didn't end up being so.
Yeah, I don't think he necessarily wants to. It's weird. It's like this weird conflict with him. He wants to be a good lawyer and do the right thing. But
he goes off onto the tangent, remember? And he's in the office talking to his parole officer person, talking about that. And he's just like, yeah, this is my plan.
I'm gonna have
9 months and 24 days.
I'm gonna be a lawyer again, yeah.
And he talks about, and he's just like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm a great lawyer. And he's just like, okay, well, it was almost as if he didn't have. Of course, he didn't have to. But it sounds like there's still a large part of him that is determined to do that.
Yeah, like I think somewhere along the line. Good. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to get better, that's for sure, because he's going to become Saul Goodman. But Saul probably had a pretty good career for a while.
It's not Better Call Saul; it's Worse Call Saul.
It was nice to see the old set too.
That was really cool. That was really cool to see.
Which I like that. I like. being able to go back and forth between the two shows. You could watch this before Breaking Bad, although I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. It's like you could watch Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me technically before the series, but I wouldn't. Because even though it leads up to these events, in a lot of ways it's similar in its structure, in that the show, it's not necessarily introducing you to these characters for the first time, not the ones from Breaking Bad. It's just, if you haven't seen Breaking Bad, you're watching it on its own, and then you watch Breaking Bad, you'll connect the dots, it'll be exciting. But there's something, kind of awesome about going through Breaking Bad and then watching a show like this. And I don't know, it just makes more sense that way. I think there are elements in this that are based on you have watching the first series, So.
By the way, this was really cool. This scene was great because you have Kim and the other lawyer guy, the douche lawyer guy, who had basically just been Paul's nemesis for a long time, or at least nemesis / buddy. And they pushed him down. He fell down. Having the two of them decide before they even have, that was actually great. We've come to an agreement, Your Honor, before they even do the hearing. That was actually pretty slick. Pretty slick.
She's really good.
Yeah, she's great.
And then she has to deal with the kid she just offended, who's so ungrateful and arrogant and cocky.
Douche about it.
He doesn't even realize that she got him out of a minimum year jail sentence to 4 months of probation. And even the other lawyer that she's, in a way, strong-arming. I wouldn't say she's blackmailing, but she's certainly strong-arming. And, convincing him. And he's like, I can't. The minimum is 1 year. I can get him down to 8 months, 6 months, 4 months of jail time and 1 year probation. And she won't relent. And he gets his 4 months of probation. But look, he's just being this cocky guy. And then she has to, knock him down a peg and put him back in the real world. And I like the way she handles it.
She shuts him down fast. So it's great.
Yeah. Now, overall, this is definitely a very strong episode. There have been episodes that I wouldn't say are the best of the season, but they've all been pretty strong episodes. There hasn't been one so far that I've had any real issues with.
This was, of course Nacho and Kim are my two favorites in this show.
No Nacho in this episode.
But no Nacho at all in this episode, so that was interesting.
What's happening with Nacho? Sorry, we're just gonna flip through some cable right now.
But I mean,
I think Dr. Zhivago sounds good.
That's.
It's a good movie, a David Lean masterpiece. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that.
What a ride! This episode's title, right?
Hey, thanks again for joining us. This has been the Fanatics of Film, and my name is Ben.
I'm Joe, and as always, like and subscribe, and we appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Destroy the like button.